a reading workshop with a UDL lens, we need to anticipate the barriers. We need to proactively design some flexible options so that our kids can access and engage with what's happening. So here's some examples. If I'm in a mini lesson, one of the questions that I want to ask myself in my planning is this: how can I deliver my mini lesson in a way that's engaging? Well, some of the answers might be things like, oh, I could use a multimodal teaching method. So maybe I have a visual, or maybe there's an anchor chart, or maybe while I'm teaching, I'm using gestures to support the learning. Perhaps the answer is I have a pre-recorded video that I've used, and now kids are going back and revisiting it as they need. Maybe I'm modeling think alouds. Maybe I'm giving them options for engagement instead of turn and talk. Maybe it's a stop and jot, or maybe it's a like hit the clicker and have it pop up, whatever we have access to. Inside independent reading time, the question that I want to ask myself is this: how can I ensure that all of my students can access and engage with texts independently? I think often we want to help our kids so much that we tend to over scaffold the work. We tend to be there with them so often that they don't actually build a level of independence. They build more cultures of dependence. And so when we think about independent reading time, we do want to think about the reading formats. So in other words, do we have video? Do we have audio? Do we have a graphic novel? Do we have a regular text? Like that's what we're thinking about. Might we have some individualized scaffolds like a guided bookmark or a choice board that will help kids to work themselves through that particular period? Could we create varied reading spaces, thinking about where kids learn best in the room? Might they use digital reading logs or have text, voice to text options there? Maybe for some of our kids, we have apps that are audio enhanced so that as kids are reading, they also have the audio reference in the background as well. And then when we think about our share time, we want to think about things like how can I offer multiple ways for kids to share their reading insights? So we know about different options for sharing, like verbal, written. They could do video responses. Maybe during my share time, I need to provide some sentence starters or some scaffolds for kids to be able to do that. Maybe I want to think about small groups versus individual sharing options. Um, I could pose questions. What surprised you or what challenged you today, and have them talk about those things.